What does that even mean, Bowers Game Corner?
Ahoy there, YouTube! I'm back again today for another game review, another special Kickstarter review. And today I'm very excited to check out Dracula's Feast from Jelly Bean Games. This is for 4 to 8 players, take about 5 to 15 minutes to play, and I'd say it's for ages, 9, 10 plus. And in Dracula's Feast, this is a game of logic and social deduction as you're going to be taking the role of one person at Dracula's party, and you might have a special win condition, or you might have an asymmetrical thing that you're going to be doing, and you're going to be trying to attempt to figure out who everyone else is at the table and then successfully predict that. If you do, you win the game. If you don't, you are banished and someone else is going to win the game. It's simple, it's quick, but is it good? Let's open it up and I'll tell you what I think about it. Alrighty then, we're going to take a look at what you're going to get inside of Dracula's Feast. Before I get started, I do want to mention this is the promotional copy I have in front of me, so obviously these are not the rules you're going to get, and I'm also missing quite a few components. I'm missing dance tokens, and I'm missing accusation cards. We had to round up a whole bunch of cubes, which was slightly annoying, but you were going to get those in the complete version of the game. So first and foremost, we got our handy-dandy rule sheet, 2 pages typed up, and it's pretty well done. It should have you up and running in no time at all. It's a very simple game as well, so I can teach you how to play right now, hopefully. So in Dracula's Feast, this is a simple social deduction game where each player is going to be given one of these roles right here. And each of these roles is going to have a little bit of asymmetrical thing for him. So for instance, the zombie, he's going to be all about trying to go on dances. Dracula, once he gets banished, he's going to get one chance at making a grand reveal, which is how you win the game. Trickster, accept all dances and answer yes to all questions. So they're just going to be throwing people off. We got the magic mirror. Look at the mystery guess before attempting a grand reveal. None of this stuff really means too much to you right now, but we'll show you how the game is played and it'll start to make more sense. So when you first start the game, you're going to see how many players there are, and then you're going to choose the number of roles plus 1. So if you're playing a 4-player game, you're going to pick out 5 of these roles. So let's just randomly grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we would grab these 5 roles right here: Magic Mirror, Werewolf, Boogie Monster, Alucard, and Van Helsing. So these are the 5 roles that are in the game. Now, to help people remember which ones are in there, you're going to take those 5 roles and put them up at the top so everyone will know what potential special abilities and winning conditions are in play. So let's see. We need Van Helsing, and then we would need the Alucard. So we get Van Helsing, Alucard, Boogie Monster, Werewolf, and Magic Mirror. So now what you're going to do is you're going to take these 5 cards, you're going to mix them up, and you're going to deal 1 to each player, and then you're going to have one special mystery guest who will be up there who no one is playing as. Now everyone is going to look at their card, see who they are, and see what they're trying to do. So accepts all dances may immediately attempt a grand reveal after 2 guests are banished. So what does that actually mean, though? Well, let's go over what the actions you can do on your turn are. You're only going to be able to take 1 action per turn. So the first action you can do is you can question someone. You can say, all right, are you this person? And you're actually going to slide them the card if they're wrong or right. So you would say to this person, are you the werewolf? And they'd look and they'd say the werewolf, and then they would slide over this yes card. Then I would now know a very valuable piece of information about that person, that they are in fact the werewolf. And you are going to have these yes and no cards which you'll be using throughout the game. The second action you can do is you can ask another player to dance with you. You can say, all right, would you like to dance? If that person says yes, then you're actually going to exchange cards so you will both know who each other are. And also, you are going to place a dance token on them to symbolize that you have danced with that person and vice versa, because that is how some players are going to be able to win the game. Next, you can accuse someone, and this is where you should have cards. We use cubes, and you're going to place an accusation card in front of another player, and you say, all right, I think you are this player. And obviously, orange, green, blue, red, dark blue. You're going to have different colored cards. How this works is if you are correct, they're going to reveal their card and they are banished from the game, which means they're completely out of the round. If it's not, they stay hidden and you are banished. So it's definitely a risk-reward thing on whether or not you are going to accuse. Last but not least, you can do a grand reveal. And this is where you're going to reveal your card, and then you're going to place an accusation in front of each of the players. So you're like, I think you're this, I think you're that, and I think you are this. Each player is secretly going to take their yes or no card, and they're going to place it in the middle of the table, and then they're going to discard their other card into a community pile. You're going to reveal them all at the same time, and if they all say yes, then you have won the game. However, if one of them says no, you lose the game, at which point you are banished, and everyone else is going to then collect a yes and no card once again, and then you're going to proceed with one less player. Now, why is there a hidden guest? A, it's there to throw people off, and B, it's also there because certain players' special abilities interact with that card. So let's go over the different guests, you'll get a feel for how everything works. So first, Dracula takes one more turn after being banished. So essentially, Dracula has a really cool ability because he might lose the game, but he's still going to get and play one more turn where he can attempt a grand reveal, and if he's right, he wins the game. Next, you're going to have Alucard. He accepts all dances. He kind of wants to be like Dracula. He answers yes to being Dracula question and wins if he's given Dracula's accusation card. So you're trying to trick other people into thinking that you are Dracula. Next, you have the Boogie Monster. He accepts all dances and may immediately attempt a grand reveal after 2 guests are banished. So he's all about dancing, figuring out roles, and then even if it's not his turn, if 2 people get banished from the game, he can attempt a grand reveal and boom, win right there, or he could potentially lose right there as well. Next, you have Dr. Jekyll. She cannot question, and she plays as the mystery guest after being banished, which is awesome. So essentially, you have 2 lives, but you're actually going to switch to a different role after you lose. Next, you have the Magic Mirror. Look at the mystery guest card before attempting a grand reveal. So you're going to get an extra piece of information that no one else is going to have, which might make your grand reveal a little bit easier. Trickster accepts all dance and answers yes to all questions. So they're just going to be throwing everyone off. And then you have Van Helsing. You win by correctly accusing Dracula or dancing with him. I'm going to mention this in the pros and cons, but yeah, so he is specifically looking for Dracula. Next, you have Werewolf. Wins by correctly accusing 2 guests. And Zombie wins by dancing 3 times. So as you can see, different win conditions in there. But that, in a nutshell, is how Dracula's Feast is played. Alrighty then, Dracula's Feast from Jelly Bean Games. What are my final thoughts? Let's go over the pros, let's go over the cons. Before we get started, I do want to mention one thing. Normally when I do a Kickstarter review, that means I like the game and I recommend the game. When I do a Kickstarter preview, that means I'm not the biggest fan of the game and I don't recommend it. Just a little fun fact there. Now I'm giving this game a review, but there is one huge glaring con that I have with this game. And that, so let's get over to the con side, is that at 4 and 5 players, I do not recommend the game. Period. End of the discussion. I did not like the game at the lower player counts, and there's a big reason why, and that's because some of the cards need other cards to really work well. Take, for instance, Van Helsing, Alucard, and Dracula. If you're playing as Van Helsing and Dracula is not in the game, well, guess what? You have lost your asymmetrical win condition. Likewise, if you're playing as Alucard and Dracula is not in the game, you've lost your asymmetrical win condition. And at the higher player counts, that doesn't happen because some people are trying to dance, some people are trying to accuse, and the game works incredibly well. But at those lower player counts, it does not work nearly as well. They absolutely need to have something in the rule book that says, if you're playing at this player count, we recommend playing with this card, and this card. And even then, I still wasn't the biggest fan of this at 4 and 5 players. That is the big con that I have with this game. Any other cons I have with the game, it's not meaty, it's incredibly simplistic. You know, you have a roll, you're going to take 1 of 4 actions, and there's player elimination, which might turn some people off, but honestly, the game goes by so quick that the player elimination did not bug me. Any other cons I have with the game? You know, I would say that it feels a little bit fidgety using cubes, but honestly, you're not going to have to use the cubes like I did because you're going to have all the components, so that is something that I shouldn't even mention. Moving on to the pros, though, Dracula's Feast, when it works and when you have the high player counts, is one of those games that you're going to play, and then 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 you're going to realize you played it 5 or 6 times in a night because it works so well at the higher player counts. It goes by so quickly, and it's just fun. So what do I like about the game? Let's get some stuff out of the way. I like the artwork. I'm a big fan of the artwork. I love the asymmetrical abilities, especially at the higher player counts. 8 players is ideally where you're going to play because then you have people who are trying to do different things like, hey, that person's accusing a lot. Hey, that person's dancing a lot. Hey, that person is saying yes a lot. And you really need to be focused on what everyone else is doing at the table. At the higher player counts, this game really shines, which is why I'm recommending the game. So what asymmetrical abilities? I really think that for the most part they're all pretty well balanced when you're playing at the maximum player count. I like those an awful lot. I like the simplicity of this game. You can have this game out and you can teach it in, I'd say, under 5 minutes, which is great. And there's very little setup and tear down time, which is always a good thing. In essence, it's almost a micro game. It really is, because there's so few components. So I'm hoping this has a pretty small box, which is always a good thing. And overall, it's this simple. If you're in the market for a quick, fun, light filler game for a higher player count, then this one might be one you want to check out. If you're looking at this at 4 and 5 players, then I'm going to say no. Just a flat no, I can't recommend it. If you enjoyed this review, please be sure to click on that subscribe button down below in the comments below. Let me know if you were having a party and you had to invite one of these people. Who would you invite? So Dracula, no thank you. Alucard, I'm not sure what an Alucard is. Is that just a Dracula poser? I think it is. He's just, dressed up. So it's like a gothy guy dressed up like Dracula. Maybe. Boogie Monster accepts all dances. Yeah, I'd probably take the Boogie Monster. He's going to be out there. He's going to be dancing. He's going to get other people dancing because dancing is contagious. And, are there any... yeah. So I'm probably going to go with the Boogie Monster. But who would you invite to your party? Let me know in the comments below. And as always, thanks for your time, YouTube.